Lesson number one, my country people, Dr. Waiting. Listen, whether or not you accept my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. He's an enemy that is strong. So we got to be technical to what they do here. We thank my country people for this wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
So we don't already ascertain, say, EML ENDELEY be the main opposition leader to John Foncha KNDP political party. Emmanuel Mbela Lifafa Endeley being a real name, a full name, and he be born in 1916 and he died for 1988. He be been a Cameroonian politician where he be lead the Southern Cameroon's representatives out of the Eastern Nigerian House for Enugu, and he later on negotiate the creation of the autonomous region of Southern Cameroon around 1954 with the British government, because you need to understand, say, Southern Cameroon has been a part of the trust territory known as the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. So it be need the United Kingdom for create our own house inside Boya. So we'll not be doing on our own, as some Cameroonians who can't talk and today say we be withdraw, can't create our own for Boya. No. Now the British government it be authorized them because we will still be in a British colony. Make we understand that fact. Or if you talk say because we'll be still being a part of a British trust territory. So we not be get the sovereign authority for withdraw out of Enugu and do whatever we want. Now the British, they be dictator. So EML ENDELEY he been a member of the Bakweri tribe, where ye papa he been a chief of the Bakweri, and he be studied for Boya and for Nigeria as a medical doctor. For 1951, Endeley he be elected to the Eastern Nigerian House of Assembly for Enugu, and he be appointed Minister of Labour between 1953 to 1954. So for 1953, Endeley be joined John Foncha and ST Muna for leave the NCNC, where they call them National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon's party. They leave that party and they can form their own political party known as the KNC, Cameroon National Congress. See how they spell Cameroon with a K, because at that time all of them, Endeley, Foncha and Muna, they get this one Cameroon idea for their head. So they be the advocate now. When they create that KNC, they be the advocate for autonomy for Southern Cameroon. And remember, say ST Muna, he be also be appointed Minister of Public Works for Nigeria between 1952 and 1953. So Endeley and ST Muna now appointed cabinet ministers them for Nigeria, but they still experience such a high degree of over domination and marginalization, where they commode them out of the NCNC for Nigeria, can create their own KNC political party, and then they start the advocates, say they want to commode them out of Nigeria for create their own autonomous region of Southern Cameroons. So after they create that autonomous region of Southern Cameroons, for 1955, John Foncha and ST Muna, they separate from the KNC where they be formed and can create their own separatist party called the KNDP, Cameroon National Democratic Party. So now ST Muna and John Foncha, they separate them from Endeley. Now they not just want to be an autonomous region as part of Nigeria, but they've been on a separatists where they want to separate totally from Nigeria. Endeley now go form an alliance with the KNC and KPP of Namaso Mbile, so NN their political party. So another thing we need to understand, NN Mbile, it will be born for 1923 and a person will come up from Dian. So you see, I'm now say the first signs of Northwest versus Southwest divide, it don't start the show. So Mbile, where it come up from Dian, and Endeley, when Bakweri, it come up from Fako, they join forces, their KNC and their KPP together for fight against the KNDP, when ST Muna from Momo and John Foncha from Mezam. So you see how now you get two distinct political ideologies. You get the Bamenda people them from the Bamenda province, where they get the KNDP and they fight now for separation from Nigeria. And then you get now the KPP and the KNC of Endeley, where they want greater association with Nigeria. They want to stay with Nigeria. This is where this thing started for 1955. So for 1957, Endeley Ibi squeaked out a tiny victory for become the first prime minister of Southern Cameroon, that autonomous region, but it will still be administered as part of Nigeria. Endeley become first prime minister, and just a few months after that, they make another election, and John Go Foncha a win, and he take over for be the second prime minister of Southern Cameroon. Endeley being the person where he lead the Southern Cameroons out of Nigeria for can form an autonomous region in Boya. But the political views they change later on. Why did they change? Because later on, by the time when they want come for 11th of February 1961 for the plebiscite, Endeley now is the advocate and in the campaign say make we vote for remain a part of Nigeria. By the end of this presentation, I will give you concrete evidence as to why Endeley will make that political calculations. Another thing where I come off for talk, where we need to understand them now, where it make that a red letter, it become abundantly clear. Now say Endeley Ibibina, a prince of the Bakwere tribe. He come out from a royal family. So when he write that red letter, where he talk about, say, for French Cameroon, they no get House of Chiefs and all of those things. Remember, say he actually been a direct beneficiary of the chiefs because he come out from an elite family. Some of we will not come out from the chieftaincy, will not come out from royalty. Who cares about House of Chiefs? Whether I want to get House of Chiefs or not, who cares? So if they care about House of Chiefs because now picking from the palace, so anybody want me to lose the rights and the privileges the way they get them as a royal family, as person way, they be directly in line to the throne of the Bakwere clan. So now one of the things in that way, when they talk about, say, they don't get House of Chiefs for Francophone Cameroon, all of those things, they talk about your personal, direct political interest, which is fine and normal because at the end of the day, politics is a game of interest. But the thing we want to need to understand where it be fascinating about Endeley calculation, where I go make them clear for una to understand them by the end of this presentation. Now say, now person this way, he lead the Southern Cameroons out of Nigeria. A few years later, your political ideology, it completely changed. Now he want an association back with Nigeria. And now I will show you some of the documents the way I download them from the archives of the United Nations for the United Nations Digital Library. I want to show you these documents and for giving a greater appreciation of the infighting where it exists for Southern Cameroons in the 1950s, where it be make them extremely difficult for this territory for be granted independence. We'll go analyze all the details then for now, starting with Mbile Namaso Mbile ye petition where it be the request and audience for United Nations. I want to take this opportunity to thank all man where you don't watch this presentation this far. For get more information about the Northwest versus Southwest divide, how we end up with special status instead of two-state federation, please watch this presentation where it is on our Facebook and YouTube channel where I post them on the 26th of December 2024. It don't already get more than 150,000 views on Facebook alone. Thank all man where it don't share them.
We thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
For this part of the presentation, we will look at a brief history for that territory known as the former British Southern Cameroons. And I will let Siseko Ayuktabe give una this brief history. It be the talk for 2017 for Nigeria before it be arrested. Una listen.
Cameroon was a German colony until the First World War. During that war, Belgian forces, the French forces, and the English forces got to Cameroon, and they were the ones who actually won the Germans out of Cameroon. As a result of that conquest, the United Nations, in the partition of Africa, divided Cameroon into two, and gave a small portion of Cameroon to the British to attach to Nigeria. 1919, Cameroon was divided into two portions. One part was called the British Cameroons and given to Britain. The other one was called the Republic of Cameroon and given to France. The British took their piece and they divided it into two. The top part they call it the British Northern Cameroons. The down part they call it the British Southern Cameroons and attach it to Nigeria. Specifically to the two Nigerian houses of chiefs, the Northern Nigerian House of Chiefs and the Southern Nigerian House of Chiefs. And this is how these two the German Cameroon got divided. So these two Cameroons were on both sides, with Nigeria, and the Republic stayed alone with France until 1958, when the British Southern Cameroons were already having issues with the Nigerian House of Chiefs, the Southern House of Chiefs, and they decided that they were going to break up and form their own country. They had their own judiciary, their own legislative, and their own executive, it was led by a prime minister. They moved over, and in 1959 they organized their own elections, in which the prime minister, or the then Prime Minister Endeley, was defeated by Foncha, and Foncha moved to what we call the Prime Minister's Lodge, which till today is still standing in Boya. That was in 1959, but they were still a colony of Britain. In 1960, on the 1st of January 1960, the Republic of Cameroon got its independence from France. On the 1st of October 1960, 10 months later, Nigeria got its independence from Britain. This small portion of Cameroon was still standing. In February 1961, they then did a plebiscite or a referendum where they asked them, the two portions of this British Cameroon, they asked them two options. Do you want to have independence by joining the already independent Nigeria, or by joining the independent Republic of Cameroon? The British Northern Cameroon voted unanimously to stay in Nigeria. The British Southern Cameroon voted 60 to 40 to go to France. Because before they even did the vote, there were a lot of voices in the British Southern Cameroon, having left Nigeria and they were on their own, who said, we would rather be on our own. But the British at the time thought that portion of, they were too small and too few to be an independent state. They thought they were not viable. So they now joined, as I said, 60-40. They moved to France, to the French Cameroon. When they joined, that's in 61 rather, they now got together in what we call the Fuman Conference to craft their first constitution as a federal Republic of Cameroon, because the two parts were joining. In that constitution, they said the British Southern Cameroon that was coming to join was going to be henceforth called West Cameroon, and the Republic of Cameroon would be called East Cameroon. That's what came out of the Fuman Conference. Amadou Ahidjo was the head of the Republic of Cameroon that joined with the British Southern Cameroons led by Foncha. And when they joined the two countries and formed the Federal Republic of Cameroon, Ahidjo became the president of the Federal Republic of Cameroon, and John Foncha was his vice.
So that one, a brief history, as Sisiko Ayuktabe, you don't elaborate him. I agree largely with what we come off for talk. The only thing where I disagree with you, now the actual figures. It talks say they vote by a margin of 60 to 40% in favor of joining French Cameroon. That is not accurate. The real result that take now from the archives of the United Nations itself, now actually 70 to 30%, where it means it will be now a landslide, will be vote overwhelmingly for join French Cameroon. That is a fact. And for prove that point, I will let John Foncha himself, he could tell Wuna the plebiscite result. He no go read them from a piece of paper because it they imprinted in your mind. Because now the biggest political victory that way he don't ever achieve them. So before John Foncha talk, I want to digress a little bit. When I listen to some of the lies them where they always talk concerning the history for the former British Southern Cameroons, and then I go come iron out one or two things and for clarify a few points of Wuna. When I listen,
the Southern Cameroons had a period where they existed and had international status as a nation within international boundaries. And there is no justifiable, which is where I want us to get to another important part of the conversation. There is no justifiable legal process that has dissolved the internationally recognized boundaries of the Southern Cameroons. So before we get into that,
so that one, it been one of the so-called separatists and where these so-called Ambazonians and where they try to rewrite history, where they talk say Southern Cameroons, it be get internationally recognized border and all of those things. That is a categorical fat lie. Either these people they be misinformed or they believe their own lies, but that statement is not true. The former British Southern Cameroons never ever get any internationally recognized status. Never. As now here from the history where been narrated by Sisiko Ayuktabe himself, from 1884 it been a German territory or German protectorate to 1918 where Germany lost the First World War, and then for the Treaty of Versailles for 1919 the territory be divided between the French and the British. So the status for 1884 na German protectorate, the status it changed for 1919 into the British Cameroons. So from 1919 the League of Nations territory get an international status where it be known as a British mandate, League of Nations mandate. Now the internationally recognized status that for that territory where it be now both the northern and the southern Cameroons together they get that one status known as a League of Nations mandate. Now the League of Nations it fall apart at the onset of World War II. So by 1946 they create the United Nations, and now that territory now its status it changed for 1946 with the advent of the United Nations trusteeship agreement for one territory known as the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. Now the status that territory get where it means say that Southern Cameroons we wanna know now just part of a trust territory, no be a trust territory on its own. Southern Cameroons now just a part of a trust territory. Now the internationally recognized status that way the territory get the next time where that territory is status it changed now from the 1st of October 1961 when the trusteeship agreement it be terminated by the action of the exchange of notes. The British government signed an international treaty with President Amadou Ahidjo transferring the sovereignty of that territory to President Amadou Ahidjo for Yaoundé, and he also signed the same exchange of notes with the President of Nigeria transferring the sovereignty of Northern Cameroons to Nigeria. That one document, 6 pages, now the termination of the trusteeship agreement as stipulated by the resolution 1608 of the United Nations General Assembly. So you see I'm saying from the 1st of October 1961 the internationally recognized status of that territory it changed from being a part of a trust territory to being an integral part of a sovereign country called the Federal Republic of Cameroon. So the internationally recognized status now as it being a federated state called West Cameroon, federated state in the two-state federation known as the Federal Republic of Cameroon, and that status it never changed till date. Everything we don't happen since the 1st of October 1961 now internal administrative adjustments them. For example, when they go divide this part column say northwest, this one column say southwest, they divide this one column say Bonke subdivision, or this one say na Nkambe subdivision, this one na Mezam division. All of those are just internal machinations where it be done for facilitate administration. Just like how when the United Nations they signed the trusteeship agreement with the British over the Cameroons under British administration, the British they take that territory now for administrative purposes. Now the reason that way they be divide them into Northern Cameroons and Southern Cameroons, and then they take the Southern Cameroons, they subdivide them again into the Cameroons province and the Bamenda province, and inside the Cameroons province they subdivide them again into the Victoria division, the Kumba division, and the Manfred division or districts. So you see and say they just take the districts, divisions, or whatever the territory, subdivide them. That one are internal administrative processes the way that they happen. It no mean say Southern Cameroons if you get any internationally recognized status. Wrong. The only status where this territory get them from 1884 it became a German protectorate. From 1919 it became a League of Nations mandate, part of a League of Nations mandate. For 1946 it became a part of a United Nations trust territory, a part. And then for the 1st of October 1961 it became a part of the Republic of Cameroon. On its own, Southern Cameroon has never had an internationally recognized status. Never.
My country people then, una happy Youth Day, 11th of February 2025. As we celebrate this Youth Day and we look back in nostalgia, time when we be there for school, when we drink Alaska, chop pop-off, chop frying fish, play with our friends them on Youth Day. Do you actually know the history of the 11th of February Youth Day celebration? When did it start? Now who started?